This program is brought to you by the following proud sponsors: the Alltech Media Group, the region's leading multimedia video production and marketing company, creating powerful and innovative marketing strategies that deliver exponential returns. And by California CEO Online Video Business Magazine, providing California's executives and regional leaders with economic development resources and regional branding solutions. And by StudioCast Pros, taking your web branding strategies to a new level by creating world-class online programs proven to engage audiences and enhance profits.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome again to 1 Million Cups in Riverside. It's a beautiful day here in Riverside, and today we're going to talk to Ralph Richardson with Maven, and he's going to talk to us about how to build interactive websites, I guess, that really can capture attention and get business done. Ralph?
All right, good morning, everyone. Once again, my name is Ralph Richardson. I am the founder and CEO of Maven. And I'm here to talk to you about powerfully effective websites. So just a little bit about Maven. Maven is a digital creative agency. We were founded in 2001, and we have 4 digital craftsmen on our team. And here they are. We have Luke on Spock, Mike Stecker, there's myself, and also we have Michael Lungo. And Luke is our creative director. He does all of our design. Mike is our front-end developer. And Michael does all of our back-end development. So these are sort of the 3 sort of elements that you need when you're building a website. And some of the services that we provide are website design. We provide web application and software development. We build mobile apps. We also do branding and strategy. We offer UI and UX design, and we also do some startup consulting. So today, my main topic is to talk to you about powerfully effective websites. And it's important to remember that when developing a website, it's going to help you accomplish something. So you want it to be effective at whatever its purpose is, and we'll get into that a little bit more. So our first point that we want to talk about, it needs to be goal-driven. And what we mean by that is it should be thoughtfully designed to move your organization towards its goals and objectives. What often happens is when we meet with a new prospective client, often they want to talk about the design and the bells and whistles, and they maybe want to put like flashing, blinking text somewhere, and we kind of have to steer them back in the direction of, okay, who are you as a company? What are your goals? What is it that you are trying to accomplish as a business? And how can we use the website to help you move forward with your goals? So we tend to center the conversation around, hey, as an entrepreneur, as a business owner, what are you trying to accomplish with your business, and how can the website help you do that? So that's where we start the conversation. So it's important to take that into consideration at the start of your project, because we want the website to help you get to where you'd like to go. All right, so a powerfully effective website is also going to help you tell your story. And I think that's an important point. That's something that we've learned and we now implement into our process, is we try to tell a story. Stories are one of the best ways to communicate. And every company has a story that makes them unique and offers unique value to the service or product that they're offering. So if we can effectively tell your story, then it's going to make your website more effective. So kind of to unpack that a little bit more, you want to use clear, convincing, and well-tuned storytelling to communicate the value of your product or services. So not only are we trying to tell your story, but we also want to do it in a very clear, convincing way. And we take a lot of time to kind of put that together. Now, maybe you can see this, but in this illustration, we've broken down a page into what we call scenes, all right? So think of this as maybe like a movie where you have an opening scene at the top, and then you kind of progress through the movie, right? So you're kind of telling the story, and at the end, by the time we get down to our last scene, you have something that an actionable item or something actionable that you want your user to do, right? So you want them to maybe fill out a form, or maybe you want them to make a purchase. So our story is kind of taking them through that process, and hopefully at the end of that story, we're getting them to perform an action. So the other point, this is actually kind of 2 points in one. We want it to be beautifully branded. And the first point is that your website should reflect your brand image. So now, for example, a service company like myself, or whether you're in insurance or whoever you are, you have an image or brand that you and your team have sat down and worked on. That brand image is sort of reiterated in the storefront, in the way that you answer the phone, on your website, your business cards. All of these things reflect your brand image. Well, your website is one of the most important things for your business, because many of your customers, it's the first impression they have of you. So it's very important that you take care to make sure that that image that you have in your head, you're projecting that through your website. So that's the impression that people are getting when they come to visit. All right. And of course, you want to have a beautiful interface that delivers an engaging experience that would delight your customers or your visitors. And I think delightful is a very important word. That's something that we try to do as we build our websites. We try to add something that's a little interesting, or kind of maybe, makes you say, oh, that was really cool. Those types of things have a lasting impact. The other point I wanted to make is that less is more. And so, of course, for this slide, I tried to put a lot less into it, because really, you want to have less copy and less pages when you're building your website. We've made a concerted effort in a lot of the websites we've built to actually reduce the amount of pages within the website. So much so that I think we're getting ready to launch a website next month. It has one page, right? So there's a lot of time that goes into crafting the copy and the images and the story to get it as small as possible. And part of the reason for that is, and you can probably relate to this. You go to a website, you're looking for something specific, you look for titles or the menu, you get to where you want to go, and then you leave. Most people, when they come to your website, they're only going to be there for a couple of minutes. So you need to be cognizant of that and tell your story in as succinctly as possible. All right, so this is, most people know this now, but maybe a year or two ago, this is not something people were thinking about. But you want to make sure your website is device friendly, or we call it responsive design. And that means it's going to be designed to deliver an optimal experience to your smartphone, your tablet, and your desktop. So that's important, actually. Like now, Maven, one of the things that we do is we actually talk about mobile first. Very often, before we build the desktop experience, we will design the mobile experience. That helps with a few things. It actually helps us to, we talked about less is more, clear, concise copy and content. We develop that story for a mobile device and try to make it as effective in that small space as possible, and then expand up for the desktop experience. And usually that practice will actually help us to accomplish a lot of those goals that we're after. But you want to make sure that your visitors, whatever device they're coming to your website on, that they get a good experience. All right, so and this is my last point. Analyze and tinker, right? Your website is sort of a living and breathing thing. And if we're focused on our first point, which is for it to be goal-driven, if we have a purpose, if we have things we want people to, things that we want to accomplish with it, then we need to be analyzing how are we doing, right? And if we want to improve our performance, how can we make adjustments to improve our performance, right? So small things can make a difference, whether you want to get somebody to sign up, for your new startup that you just launched. You want to get them to log in, or you want to get them to purchase something. Whatever our goal is, sometimes moving it to the left or changing the color, like these things can actually have a huge impact on what we call your conversions. So if you want to improve the website, don't be afraid to tinker with it and try different things. We could get into a long discussion about A/B testing and these types of things, but you want to try different things to improve the performance of the site and not just put it up and leave it. All right. So I want to show you just a couple of examples. These are a few clients of ours, and we actually have the City of Riverside here in the audience today. Greg Lee, thank you for coming. But this is a project that we worked on with his department, and we're actually really excited about how this project turned out. It's for the City of Riverside's Department of Economic Development. And although we can't show you here, we invite you to visit that website and take a look at it. But our homepage does open with what we feel is a very effective story about who the City of Riverside is, kind of what they stand for, which is growth and innovation. And so we start off with a really strong welcome, and we progress as you go through that website with a story about who we are and why you want to connect with Riverside to do business. Loma Linda Hospital is also, one of our, this was a really enjoyable project. We enjoyed working with their team to develop this. And one quick point, one of the things we did to kind of make the site a little bit delightful is in the background of our opening scene, we started off with faith, healing, and wholeness, but we have a video playing in the background. It's kind of unexpected, and it's just a fountain that's right in front of the hospital. And it just makes for an interesting feel when you get to the site for the very first time. It says, oh, that's kind of cool. But we don't, when we talk about doing things that are cool, you don't want to overdo it. You want those things to often be very subtle. But we invite you to visit that one as well. And our last example is for PBH. And this is a nonprofit organization that is working to improve health outcomes here in the Inland Empire. And this was a fun project, but they're looking to develop healthier communities by connecting with the surrounding businesses and the schools and just the community at large. So they're sort of a connector. So the homepage of this website, the story that we're telling is, this is who we are, this is what we do, this is how we do it, this is who we work with, this is who we need to be a part of what we're doing. And at the end of that opening page, it says, hey, get involved. If you want to get involved, click here and take that next step to connect with us. All right, so we have been since 2005. We've been a part of the American Advertising Federation. We've won over a dozen awards. We're very proud of that. And one of the ways that they judge us on whether our projects are effective. So we're very proud to participate in that. And to learn more about Maven, visit us online at maven20.com. And I invite you to also follow me on Twitter at Ralph Richardson.
Well, thanks, Ralph.
Thank you, Jay.
I have a lot of questions, but first of all, let's take some from the audience.
Sure.
Ralph, that was a great presentation. My question is around the e-commerce side of websites. I'm looking to have products on there, downloadable material and things like that. Any ideas or suggestions about that, and how does your company help businesses do that part, the e-commerce side of websites?
Okay, so our company doesn't focus necessarily on e-commerce. We do, but it tends to be for like one or two products. Like if you have, let's say, a book or a video that you would like to promote, then that type of thing, we would focus on helping you with. If you were building, let's say, a shopping cart with hundreds of products, we feel like there's a lot of other great services or companies out there that can help you with that. But let's say, you just want to launch a book. I think a lot of the things we talked about today would be relevant because we're trying to, get somebody to perform a single action and buy a book or buy one specific product. And a lot a lot of those one-page sites that we talked about are often built for that type of thing. So either for services or like a small base of products. So.
Ralph, thank you. That was a great presentation as well. I want to kind of piggyback on that. My question, I heard you talk about conversions a little bit, and just kind of getting back to getting the customer or the visitor past just kind of seeing the cool thing and maybe moving into a purchase or a sign up or what have you. I know the site's stickiness is important in that process, keeping them on the site as long as possible. Mm-hmm. What are some of the things that we can kind of put in place that have to be in place, I should say, in order to really keep a visitor on the site past that 6 second, kind of 6 second mark?
Well, some of the things you can do is maybe create a community, right? So there are different, a blog would definitely be something that would be helpful. Blogging is really important, actually. If you write articles on a regular basis, maybe have a podcast or something like that to draw people in. We presented on Maven. I didn't mention this, but Maven actually, we have the Foundry division where we are looking to develop startups. For some of the startups we're looking to develop, like the blogging would come first to start to get people to come back and start to gain some traction, right? So those are a couple of ideas. Your Facebook community, believe it or not, is a great way to galvanize that community and maybe bring them back to your website as well. So you have to approach it from maybe several different angles, but those are two ideas, the blogging, create community.
You talk about design and content. How important is it to create a site so it's SEO? You get a lot of SEO on it.
Okay, so search engine optimization, SEO. Everyone is talking about how can we do this better. What we suggest is that you kind of build your site naturally as first to make it as effective as possible, and focus on SEO second. Like there are certain things with Google's algorithm that they're going to want to see, like maybe you repeat a keyword 4 times on a page and that sort of thing. But we suggest that you don't start there, and that you focus on making it as effective as possible. But you need to be aware and conscious of little things that you can do, like making sure that the titles of each page are unique, instead of having like the same title on every single page. You might want to put like a description in the background in your meta tags. There are different things that you can do that you should do, I think, as best practices. But what we've discovered is that if you put the website up, and even if you optimize it as much as possible, you still have to promote it through other marketing methods to get people to go there. I would recommend that you don't depend on that. And the one last thing, we talked about the blog. Keep your website as clear and concise as possible, and then maybe use that blog for more of those SEO opportunities where you're writing articles and you're talking about topics that are related to your business. That's a great way to draw people in to your website and get some extra search engine optimization benefits.
And just a follow-up question, when you talked about designing for mobile or designing to desktop, do you take in consideration before you do that the type of business that you're working for? Otherwise, so if I'm a non-consumer business, is my desktop more important than the phone or mobile device, or not? Because most of my clients are B2B, and most of their clients, from what we can get, they're sitting in front of their computer at their desk. They're not looking at their site while they're driving or shopping. They're not a consumer site. So do you take into consideration the type of business first?
I think now we recommend that everybody be thinking about mobile as a best practice. I think it does make sense to still look at maybe your analytics, like maybe your Google Analytics, and see, well, what percentage of my visitors are coming to my website from mobile or desktop. But I say now, pretty much every site, it's just standard practice. Like, we're going to make it responsive as just a part of the project. It's not even something that we think, like, should we do it or should we not? We do it because we don't know that one business customer who might be maybe sitting at the DMV, and they're looking for your service. Maybe that's the one time that they go there. We want to make sure that the website's optimized for them. Yeah.
Great presentation, Ralph. Thank you. You really did a wonderful job on our website. Can you talk about the creative process? You mentioned earlier that people come to you with the idea for the design, but you have to sit down with them and steer them away from that. I think for a lot of clients, they're intimidated about that process. I know for the city, we had so much information that we were like, how are we going to make all this fit on a site? You had suggested to shrink that down. So can you talk about that process?
Yeah, so with the city's website, we took them through our standard 5-step process, and I got a screen of that here. That was actually really important. It was actually really important that we stuck with that process to get the outcomes that we did. So our step 1 is really planning. The planning is in fact, the first 2 steps have a lot to do with planning. So we sat down and we talked with the city like we do with all of our clients, and we actually, it's not like a 1-hour meeting. We normally block off like half a day, and we spend the first part of that half a day getting to know them and getting some feedback about who they are. And then in the second half of that session, we begin to start to, we use a lot of like pencil and whiteboarding. We tend to draw pictures a lot. We start to move in a direction we have an idea of how we want to construct it. So by the end of that 4-hour session, sometimes it can be 2 4-hour sessions if we need to. We go into what's called our wireframing phase. And just think of wireframing as architectural drawings. Nobody builds a house without coming up with some blueprints first. So that's what we do. We do blueprints for the website, and we pencil sketch those and as rapidly as possible. What we want to do is get something in front of you right away to say, hey, is this visually what you had in mind? Here's our suggestions. What do you think? And then we want to kind of maybe go through that like maybe 1 or 2 times to get it very close to what the finished product is going to look like. So, when we were working with the city, they were very accommodating and allowed us to go through that process. And I think, you guys have been happy with the results as a result of spending the time to do a proper plan. So our backlog stage that's where we just do a check and balance and re-estimate everything. Maybe there were some new features that they asked for that wasn't in the original spec. We can that's our check and balance phase. And after that, we get into the fun part. We design, just think, hey, I've got my plans. Now I hire a builder, and the builder builds my house for me. So now that we have our wireframes and our sketches, the graphic designer is going to design based on those wireframes that we put together. And then the developers, that would be Mike and Michael, they're going to work to actually do all the back-end development, the stuff that you don't see but is necessary for your website to function. So those are the 5 steps that we go through. We find if we stick to that, we do get a lot of clients ask us to skip, go straight to the design phase, and when we do that, it doesn't go very well. So it takes extra time, and the client does have to pay for that. That makes it a little bit more expensive, but it's worth the time and effort.
Our great audience has asked a lot of the questions that I was going to ask, Ralph. Okay. So I have one, actually I have 2 things. Number 1, I think a website is just like any other communication, really. It's not what you want to tell people, it's what the people want to hear. Right. And I think that's a lot of what you're talking about is instead of designing the website to project what you want, figure out what the customer wants to hear first. Why are they coming to the city of Riverside? Why are they coming to Carrington Case? Why are they coming to these different places? What kind of information are they looking for? How do they want to connect with you? And then you can design around that, and you're going to have a much more effective website. I think driving traffic was an important point that you touched on. It's not just search engine optimization anymore. It's really the viral aspect of social media and how we're actually in a community now instead of just it's not an advertising medium, it's more of a community medium. And then finally, Ralph, I'd like to ask you, what can 1 Million Cups do for you?
Well, referrals are always great. If you know anyone, who's looking for website development, you can refer them to our website. And just to add to your point, we actually don't get a lot of traffic on our website. and that's actually okay. It's not important for us to have tons of traffic because the purpose of our website is for opportunities like this. If we make a personal connection and you say, hey, I'd like to refer Ralph to you, it's an opportunity for you to go and take a look. And that's really what our website is there for, those referral opportunities. So anyway, that's how you could help us. We really appreciate that.
This program was brought to you by the following proud sponsors. The Alltech Media Group, the region's leading multimedia video production and marketing company, creating powerful and innovative marketing strategies that deliver exponential returns. And by California CEO Online Video Business Magazine, providing California's executives and regional leaders with economic development resources and regional branding solutions. And by StudioCast Pros, taking your web branding strategies to a new level by creating world-class online programs proven to engage audiences and enhance profits.